Well, hello again, Andy.
Hey, Dad.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
All right. Yeah, doing all right. I I don't really have much to contribute here before we get started. Since we last spoke, I haven't watched really anything new. Well, okay. I did watch the first couple episodes of the new season of Daredevil on Disney Plus,
Okay.
but it's not just the first couple episodes is really not enough for a critical review.
Jury's out still.
Yeah, that's appropriate. Considering he's a lawyer.
Oh,
yeah, the
true.
jury.
Yeah, the jury's out. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Now, hasn't it been? When did the first season of Daredevil come out? I feel like it's been quite a while. They're only on season 3.
Yeah, it has been quite a while. You had them on Netflix first, and then now that it's over on Disney Plus, and I think I'm going to have to go a little further into it before I really form an opinion. There's only 9 episodes.
Are they all out right now?
No, they're doing. I think
they're doing once a week.
Yeah.
Okay, the old-fashioned way. Well, did you? Yeah. I assume you liked the first 2 seasons.
Yes.
Okay.
To begin, for the most part.
Okay. I mean, I only saw the first
towards the ending, not so
episodes.
Much. Yeah.
Okay. I thought, the first little. I must have seen 2 or 3 episodes. Felt like it was kind of being set up pretty well. Does it feel like there's a different tone being on Disney Plus?
Not a lot. No.
Mm-hmm.
Now
so it feels like the same show.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how sometimes like a show can change networks and it can kind of be like, this feels a little different now.
At this point, I don't know how this change to Disney Plus is going to affect Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. Where was it? Wasn't it? Okay, it was Netflix before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I would think, if anything, moving it over to Disney Plus could tone it down a little bit, but maybe not. Yeah. I don't know.
Hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
No, not when Disney Plus has Deadpool on it.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, Disney. The fact that it's Disney doesn't mean anything as far as family friendly.
Not anymore. It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
you can't you can't go do something and like run to the store and tell the kids, oh, just watch Disney. Yeah, it doesn't work that way now.
Yeah, it's kind of too bad. But I didn't run across anything super noteworthy myself, other than pretty much every night we fall asleep to Seinfeld. We'll sometimes just set a timer on the TV and then we'll go to sleep. Or it's just we start to go to sleep and I'll just like turn it off after 10 minutes or something. For a while back, it was The Office. We would always fall asleep to The Office. But now it's Seinfeld. I don't know. It's
that's funny.
It's like having someone sing you to sleep or something. It's just kind of like.
Well, what does that do to your dreams?
That's a good question. I haven't.
Shall we go ahead?
You want to be careful what you're influencing your subconscious mind with, I guess.
Right. I've always said that I don't want to die in my sleep because I don't want to spend eternity inside one of my dreams.
Yeah.
That would be really bad.
That's a good point.
Well, shall we check on this episode of Timeless?
Yeah, this is episode 10, which is kind of feels like some sort of a milestone.
It should be, I think. Yeah.
And we're well past halfway through the season because we've only got 16 episodes in the season.
That's true. So
we're on the downward.
This one is the capture of Benedict Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
The episode opens with Benedict Arnold fleeing his home and surrendering to the British just before General George Washington arrives. In the present, Lucy is having dinner at Agent Christopher's house. After dinner, Agent Christopher gives Lucy a USB drive. It contains memories of her family. She says if history changes and her family is erased, she wants Lucy to show her the files on the drive.
At Gia's apartment, she and Rufus are playing video games when Connor Mason drops in to talk to Rufus. He says that Rittenhouse knows Rufus has been tampering with the recordings. When Mason leaves, Rufus and Gia get called to Mason Industries. They learn that Flynn has gone back to September 25th, 1780. Lucy says that's when Benedict Arnold was planning to give the fort at West Point to the British. When they arrive in 1780, Lucy, Wyatt, and Rufus go to the home of Benedict Arnold, where they are met by George Washington.
While they wait in a room, Flynn enters. He says he needs their help. Washington comes in, says he wants them to go into British territory, capture Benedict Arnold, and bring him back to be hanged. When they're alone, Flynn shows them the letter that he took from the clock. It was written by Benedict Arnold and talks about Rittenhouse. Flynn says Arnold was a founding member of Rittenhouse. He says if they help him kill Arnold, he will give them the mothership, and he'll give Wyatt information on the person who killed Wyatt's wife.
So Flynn, Lucy, Wyatt, and Rufus defect and are taken to Benedict Arnold, who takes them to meet Earl Cornwallis. Flynn shoots and kills Cornwallis. They tie up Benedict Arnold and ask him about Rittenhouse and find out Rittenhouse is one man named David Rittenhouse. They convince Arnold to take them to meet David Rittenhouse. Lucy has concerns about how much history will change, but agrees with the others to kill Rittenhouse. Flynn, Lucy, Wyatt, and Benedict go to see Rittenhouse. In the house, we meet a boy. He's John Rittenhouse, the young son of David Rittenhouse.
When David Rittenhouse comes in, his men grab everyone, and David says he knows they're there to kill him. Meanwhile, Rufus approaches a group of slaves. He assaults one of Rittenhouse's men and takes his rifle. In the house, David Rittenhouse shoots and kills Benedict Arnold. Young John Rittenhouse is watching as his father prepares to execute Wyatt and Flynn. Just as he's about to shoot, Rufus breaks in. After a scuffle, Flynn takes aim at David Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse says the movement will outlive him and that there are others. Then Flynn kills him. They notice that the boy is missing. Flynn says they have to kill him as well because he believes the same things as his father. Flynn finds the boy hiding outside. He briefly turns away. When he turns back to the boy, Lucy is shielding him. While Flynn argues with Lucy, young John Rittenhouse escapes. Flynn drags Lucy to the mothership, and they take off with Wyatt and Rufus unable to stop them. Roll credits. Next time, the World's Columbian Exposition.
Right off the bat, this episode ends like the first half of a two-parter, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, big cliffhanger.
Well, I was checking something on this one.
Okay.
Because you know how a lot of TV shows, you get into the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
And, they'll put out an episode and it's got kind of a cliffhanger. And then the next episode doesn't show up for 6 weeks and you almost forget about it.
Yeah, because they want you invested to wait for a long break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this particular episode aired on December the 12th.
Okay.
The next episode airs on January 16th. So more than a month, people had to wait to see the next episode of Timeless and find out, what happened with Flynn abducting Lucy like that.
Okay, so this was kind of a season break, which that makes sense because it felt like, yeah, it felt like a good kind of cliffhanger episode where something kind of big happened that leaves you wanting more. So that, that makes sense. It would be right.
Yeah, it leaves you hanging. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other things I was thinking. I never saw the time machine just appear like that. Now, did Flynn call it from somewhere else or from another time? Or they never said anything about the time machine having the ability to either mask its presence or become invisible or anything like that.
That's true. Although Flynn has the fancier one. It probably has, these more fancy features
but they still didn't tell us anything like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And if he called it from another time, we've been told that you can't travel to a time where you are.
I mean, it must just have, maybe it's like a cloak or something. Kind of like Star Trek Enterprise when they, go back to Earth and save the whales, they like cloak the ship. Maybe it's like that.
The time Flynn's mothership is Klingon.
Yeah. That's actually, it'd be interesting to think like.
Because I was thinking, they go back, we've seen Rufus and Wyatt and Lucy get out of theirs and they take off, and doesn't anybody accidentally stumble upon what do they call it, the lifeboat? Hasn't anybody ever just come across it and wonder, what's that?
Yeah, they just leave it kind of parked in the middle of nowhere. It would make sense you would want some sort of a cloaking device or something.
Exactly. Of course, then if you had a cloaking device, somebody's running through the woods and they go, bonk.
Yeah. You go back to your ship and you find somebody just like passed out cold. Another one.
It makes me think of one of the coolest two-panel, what would you call them? Two-panel drawings in a Superman comic book years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
You're reading along here, and there's this guy who like sticks up a convenience store, and he's running out of the store along the sidewalk, and he's looking kind of over his shoulder. And when he turns his head, you turn the page, right? And he's just smack right in the S.
That's cool. That's really cool to lay it out that way too, where you actually turn the page
and you're surprised.
Yeah. That took some planning.
Okay,
that's cool.
That's another subject.
Yeah.
I'm also guessing that the Rittenhouse organization, they killed David Rittenhouse. He said there were others. Okay, there's others. But I think maybe the key figure in all of that was the boy, not the father. It's the son who spearheads what Rittenhouse becomes.
Yeah. And what's interesting to think about is potentially them going back and killing the boy's father lit a fire in him that made him want, vengeance or whatever it is. Like they could have actually made it worse and triggered him to become like the terrible Rittenhouse guy.
Maybe we're going to find out in the coming episodes, but
yeah.
And now, go ahead.
Well, I just a couple other things. Just like little things, little thoughts I had while watching was, one, it was pretty interesting to see them team up with Flynn, which is, I've kind of been waiting for a moment like that, that they got together with Flynn, and it was, I don't know, it was just interesting to see them kind of.
Because back at the Hindenburg, Flynn told Lucy that she was going to help him and work with him. Maybe this is the start of that.
When it was the writing was pretty interesting in this episode as well, because they, we got to see more depth to Flynn's character.
Yes.
Even not just learning about his backstory, but learning, I thought it was pretty interesting, him talking about once Rittenhouse was taken care of, he was going to go back home. His wife and kids would be alive again. He was going to hug them, but then he was going to leave because he knew that he had just become a terrible monster, and that was nothing he wanted to bring back into his home. And I just thought, like, that's pretty interesting.
It is pretty interesting. This episode has made Flynn a little more sympathetic.
Yeah, there's more depth. He's a little more human. I mean, he's a bad guy, but yeah, you can sympathize with him more. And him talking about, when he was a kid, he dreamed of becoming a cowboy. And in a way, that's kind of what he is, kind of a killer cowboy.
Mm-hmm. Well, every really, I was going to say good bad guy, every bad guy thinks he's doing the right thing.
Or it's justified somehow.
It's all justified. He doesn't look at himself as being an evil, bad person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's
so
on
it's
a
interesting
mission.
to see Flynn, know that he's, I don't know, he's got his reasons for doing it, but then knows that he's kind of become a monster in doing it. I thought it was kind of cool to see the actor who played David Rittenhouse was that guy who was that Ferengi guy from Star Trek.
Oh, I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah, and I was like, man, the guy's like the way he talks, his teeth and his ears. Well, his ears weren't quite as big as the Ferengi ears, but he's just got like a cool voice. I thought he was like a really good choice for the Rittenhouse guy. Personally,
he was good.
Just
and this is really kind of stupid, but what struck me when Flynn and Lucy, when they stop to water the horses and they're talking to each other, Flynn is talking to Lucy and Lucy's talking to Flynn, right?
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
And I'm going, I'm just curious. How tall are these actors, especially when they're so close together? And I looked it up, and the actress playing Lucy is 5'6", not shabby for a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the actor who's Flynn, he's 6'4", so he's like a foot taller than she is.
Yeah. So, and if they're really close together, there's going to be like a big.
Exactly. I know that's really kind of a dumb thing, but I had to look.
There was that moment at the end when it's like, oh, they're all going to die, but Rufus bursts in and saves the day.
Right.
I'm like, that was kind of a cool moment for Rufus, but I also get kind of irritated at when a situation is saved like that, that just,
right.
It's like, oh, they're about to get killed. Oh, but suddenly this other character bursts in at the last second and kind of, that was like really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But good they all survived. But I think you're right about the kid becoming. Yeah, they haven't gotten rid of Rittenhouse at this point. But that's like kind of that dilemma. Like, if you could go back to when Hitler was a kid, would you take him out? And it's like, no, he's just a kid. That was kind of the dilemma they faced there.
Yeah. So,
also, one other thing that I just thought was a little funny when Connor Mason comes over to Rufus or to Gia's house to talk to Rufus, and he's a little drunk. He wants to have a private conversation with Rufus, so Gia goes into the other room and closes the door. But he's talking so like Connor Mason was talking loud enough. I'm like, I'm sure couldn't she just hear the conversation through the door? And then she comes out. What was that all about? I'm like, how did you not hear it?
Exactly.
You're a loud drunk guy. You're going to hear what he's saying. But I thought I don't know. I kind of got into this episode. It was nice to see, you got to see the letter that was pulled out of the clock, and we got to see, it had the invisible ink and stuff like that. It was kind of satisfying, but I'd say that I got kind of more interested in this one than
I agree. I thought it was better than Bonnie and Clyde.
Mm-hmm.
I would give this one probably an 8.
That's what I was thinking.
We got a lot more answers, not only from past events, but in the future or in the present as well. I'm just hoping that this momentum keeps up in the next one.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm kind of right there with you. That's what I was thinking is an 8. So
okay.
I feel like we're usually kind of right in line on.
Now we're not going to wait a month for the next episode, are we?
No way, Jose.
We're not taking a long break.
Nope.
No, we'll be back shortly with the follow-up episode to this one.
What is, well, okay, yeah, and it's basically, it's going to feel like a part 2, maybe, but I have no idea what is the World's Columbian Exposition. It's probably, I don't know what is that about?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. I got the feeling it was like kind of a World's Fair. You know how they used to have the World's Fair?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of something like that.
It was a World's Fair held in Chicago in 1893 that celebrated the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival. Okay, but yeah, World's Fair.
Okay.
It was also known as the Chicago World's Fair. Wonder what's going to happen.
So we're going to the fair.
Going to the fair.
Can we have some cotton candy and ride some rides and shoot some bad guys?
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Sounds good to me.
See you at the fair. I'll bring cotton candy.
All right.
Something. Elephant ears. I don't know.
That wraps up this episode. Join us again next time here in the TV Lounge.